am now recording the video version. Welcome back to another episode of the newly rebranded iApple Tree podcast. The reason why I changed my brand name for those who only listen or watch the podcast is just because the name I didn't really like the name the iTunes Fanboy because it was more associated with being a music channel than a tech channel. That's obviously not what I'm interested in.
Yeah, and another thing I did see was on my comments, someone called you a fanboy, which you're obviously not a fanboy. It was just the name.
Yeah, so that's why. But we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. So first
Yes,
up, WWDC was announced for June 6th to June 10th.
well, that's good. Hopefully, iOS 16 is going to be a worthy update. I have heard some people on Twitter say, um, if, I've heard people on Twitter say if you're just excited about a rebrand, redesign on your OS, there's not much to be excited for. Well, here's the thing. When you're looking at the same exact homepage, icons and all, for the past 9 years, it gets really, really hard to keep on looking at those icons.
Yeah. Well, I think iOS 11 probably had the biggest redesign since iOS 7.
Yeah, I really like iOS 11. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. But so, the actual rumored features for iOS 16 are improved notifications, being more focus options, improved health and sleep tracking, new news features, and a redesigned iPadOS app switcher.
I think the app switcher would be cool. But for the most part, what I'm really looking for is optimization for these devices. Like, iOS 15 does not really run that well on older devices, and I think that they should discontinue the older devices. And another thing um, that I think that iOS does wrong is how they optimize for their devices. Like, I bought a 14 Pro Max. The only difference in the screen size that's really noticeable is bigger icons. Like in the top where I should be able to see my battery percentage, there's just bigger icons. And space is wasted by how many cell bars I have. When have I been, when's the last time that somebody has been worried about how many bars they're getting?
I can see in some cases if you live out in a rural area and you need to know how much signal you have for business purposes.
Yeah,
But otherwise, I can't really see. I don't really need to know that.
yeah,
Especially because I don't even have a hooked up iPhone yet. I just use my iPhone like an iPod Touch.
yeah. Do you have any plans to get it hooked up?
I do. Once I head back to in-person school, back later this in August, I will get hooked up.
That's good. I've had mine hooked up since 2014 because there's a lot of stuff that happened that year that I pretty much had to get a hooked up phone in the end, and it was just cheaper to go with a Sprint plan than to buy a phone um, off contract pretty much because that year I needed a phone basically, and I ended up getting a 5C for I think free on Sprint, and it was cheaper to just buy a contracted phone back when that was a thing.
Yeah, I do have. Yeah. When I get my iPhone hooked up, because both my parents will be using AT&T, or our AT&T customers, I'll be an AT&T customer too.
Yeah, and AT&T has good service, I've heard.
Yeah, AT&T has the fastest service where I live, so
Yeah, it's all about where you live though, which here it's kind of open between Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T also works just fine here. So where I live, I live in suburban area pretty much, just complete suburban area. it doesn't really matter what service I have here.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I personally, the second fastest is Verizon, but T-Mobile and Sprint speeds. Well, now I guess it's just T-Mobile speeds. T-Mobile speeds are pretty bad where I live,
Yeah.
so that's why I can't recommend.
What I could tell, you do kind of live in a semi-rural area, right?
Uh, yeah, I'm not going to state where specifically I live, but yeah.
I just want to know, like, is it like kind of like going into rural area, or is it like a town or like city or?
I so it's a town, but but it doesn't take long to get into a rural area.
Yeah, so that it would make sense how you wouldn't have the absolute best um coverage there.
Yeah, but yeah, but on my dad's phone it always says that he's connected to 5GE.
5G E, I'm pretty sure is AT&T's custom 4G standard actually, and it's
Yeah,
not really any different than 4G.
yeah,
I could be pretty sure since I don't really have AT&T.
yeah. I actually do. So I do. So one thing I do predict about iOS 16 is I have a strange feeling that skeuomorphism is going to come back.
Personally, I really did like skeuomorphism when it was a thing, and
Me,
I think they should bring it back.
me too. But it's at though the rumors aren't hinting towards it. It would make sense because it's the 10-year anniversary of iOS 6, the last skeuomorphic iOS. It's the 15-year anniversary of iOS period.
And another thing is, aren't they trying to bring back a semi iPhone 4-esque design?
Yeah, and it's not just that either, but that hello screen is just like on the iMac G3.
Yeah, and I think that skeuomorphism would honestly fix a lot of the issues that I have with iOS, since it would make me actually enjoy the feel of my phone again, which I haven't been able to say that for no, more than 5 years, probably about 8 years, because it was not that long after iOS 7 came out that I started to hate the design and everything about that iOS.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so I just think that skeuomorphism. I just have a string, and Apple's obviously brought color back to the iMac G3, and they're rumored to do that with the M2 MacBook Air. So it just seems like it's right for iOS to iOS, macOS, watchOS, and iPadOS and tvOS and etc. to be skeuomorphic.
Yeah, because whenever it seems like macOS is usually 1 year difference from iOS design wise, and since macOS Big Sur did come out about, well, over a year ago, but about 2 years ago, it would make sense if they would bring that design to the iPhone, since it's kind of semi skeuomorphic.
Yeah, but I still think that's gonna go to full skeuomorphism. I don't know why,
Yeah,
but
and tvOS did copy iOS 7 design, I think, the year that it came out.
yeah, I think yeah, and so now and watchOS 9 is going to come out with and watchOS 9 is rumored to come out with low power mode, like not
Yeah,
energy power reserve mode, but a real low power mode.
that's actually something that would have helped me a lot back about 2 years ago, because I used to never be able to keep a charge on my devices, my Apple Watch, and that would have really helped me a few years back.
Yeah, that and of course I'm still using an Apple Watch Series 5 where the battery doesn't last that long, so that would be good. But
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
but the sad but the irritating part is that I would have to update my phone to get iPhone to get WatchOS 9, and I don't and because my iPhone 11 Pro Max is already running iOS 15.1, which is already getting kind of old. I would really rather prefer not to have it update anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm saving up for an Apple Watch Series 8 or whatever Apple Watch is coming out later this year. So
You would have to update.
yeah, so I'll probably do 16 beta. I'll probably test out 16 beta on my 11 Pro Max.
Yeah, I definitely will check out the betas this year. Um, I just think it's kind of worth it to beta test,
Yeah.
especially since I've been doing it for the past however many years.
Yeah,
It does make a lot of sense for me to
I've
keep the tradition going.
I've been beta testing since 2020, and I do think that I'll probably do be beta. I don't beta test the all new beta, the in between betas. I just test the betas for major versions.
Yeah, same. So I tend to find one stable OS and keep my phone on it. Right now it's 15.4. Before that, 15.3.1 was I hated 15.3.1. That's actually the cause of me not liking iOS devices for a while, while that OS was out. But 15.4 is very stable, so I don't try to as many in between betas anymore, at least.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's per. Yeah, I'll pro. And luckily, I'm getting another iPhone 11 Pro Max soon in midnight green. It's 256 gigabytes and mine is 512 gigabytes, so it probably won't be my main phone.
How are you getting a second one?
Well, my dad is upgrading. So, my mom's 512 gigabyte iPhone 13 Pro that she got didn't have enough storage for her because she uses her phone to take photos for her businesses a lot. And she intended to get a 13 Pro Max in 1 terabyte. So even though I warned her that the 14 lineup may be coming out in May, she's still going to be getting a 13 Pro Max, and my dad will be getting her 13 Pro, and I'll be getting his old 11 Pro Max.
Well, that's good. Are you planning to upgrade your personal phone anytime soon to like a 13 or a 14 series of lineup, or are you gonna wait another year?
Probably not. I don't really have any problems with my 11 Pro Max.
Yeah, the design on the 11 Pro Max, in my opinion, is actually a lot better than the newer devices.
Yeah.
Even though I do prefer the newer devices in almost every way. But the design, I would say I would really like to have the comfort of a squared off iPhone.
Yeah, that's why Apple. Yeah, my mom actually does like the new squared off design a lot better than the
I
curved.
like the durability aspect of the new design a lot too, since, as you do know, it does actually really help in durability.
Yeah, it does definitely help. So I do. So yeah, but now there's
My
going.
dream iPhone would be a squared off design with the iPhone 11 Pro's display size, with the iPhone 4's stainless steel edges and raised glass.
Yeah, I would per. Yeah, my dream iPhone would be as thin as possible because I prefer thinness in a phone.
Yeah,
Like,
my phone is currently at 81% due to this thickness, and I will never have to charge this midway through the day. But that does come with a extremely big weight increase, which is very annoying to me personally.
yeah, yeah, the iPhone 13. Yeah, and I personally wouldn't mind having a giant camera bump if it meant having an overall thinner phone.
Yeah,
And so that's not. And so the MacBook Air, speaking of the M2 MacBook Air, which is going to be announced at WWDC 22, that is going to come in colors like the iBook G3 did, clamshell did, and it'll obviously have the M2 chip.
yeah, that's cool.
And then there will be a pro- And then there's rumors for a new Mac Pro and a new Pro Display XDR to be announced.
That's good.
And the new Mac Pro is supposedly going to have the M2 Ultra chip.
Yeah.
And then there will be a new M2 Mac Mini and a new M2 MacBook Pro.
Yeah. The M2 chip, I hope, is a lot more powerful than M1 because M1 is not extremely powerful.
Yeah, and the M2, and there are also rumors. This is not for WWDC, but there are rumors for an M2 Pro and M2 Max MacBook Pros in the works.
Good.
So I'm really hoping. So I'm kind of predicting that the M2 will be more powerful, a lot more powerful, because the M1 already has a really good performance in it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problem is that they're still selling those absolutely dumb 8 GB models.
I don't consider 8 gigabytes of RAM to be dumb.
Well, when the OS is taking up about half of that sometimes, it's really hard to completely say, 8 gigabytes is enough, even with the M1's efficiency. 8 gigabytes is just hard to use overall, especially doing anything really performant, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I personally, again, with my previous computer, my 2014 MacBook Air, I actually had no issues with having 4 gigabytes of RAM, and I would oftentimes keep a Pages document and a few Google Chrome tabs open.
Would you edit on that computer?
I would only edit the podcast. I would not edit my regular videos on that. Just because it was very slow. Just because it was not very powerful.
Yeah.
But again, you have to consider that the average Joe isn't going to be editing many videos, and that the regular M1 is aimed more towards average consumers.
Yeah, but the older MacBook Airs, the first gens, I believe came with 1 or 2 gigabytes of RAM from factory, and it ended up giving a lot of users some pretty bad issues in the long term when they tried to update macOS.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why Apple has higher end M chips.
Yeah.
And so the next product that is rumored is the AirPods Pro 2, which will come out and later this year.
That's actually something that I really want to happen because, in my opinion, AirPods just do not have good enough battery.
Yeah, my mom was able to get around 3 years out of her first gen AirPods before she upgraded to third gen AirPods.
Third gen AirPods I had, but I ended up returning them just to get some extra money because I actually ended up getting my AirPods Pro repaired. I regret that. Never in my life will I ever do that again because AirPods Pro battery is garbage.
Yeah.
The battery on those things lasts me about 3.5 hours.
I actually
The case lasts me 2 full charges, and the case charges lower than any other device that I've ever had.
I know. Yeah, believe me, I'm an AirPods Pro user too, so I do know. And Alpha Day Wolf has had to get his replaced by Apple due to noise cancellation and transparency not working twice.
That's happened to me. I've had to get mine replaced probably 5 times, because I am a very heavy user, and I had one pair from August 2020 to February 2022 before they got stolen, and then I had to buy a new pair, and it seems like the new pair just lack quality control. I don't know if that's for sure, but the battery's just garbage.
I got better battery life out of my AirPods first gens than I do my AirPods Pro.
Yeah, and I'm not even really using noise cancellation that much. I'm kind of just using them in off mode or transparency mode.
Yeah, I do use noise cancellation, but even still, it's supposed to be efficient with noise cancellation.
Yeah, and if I was, somebody who traveled a lot, I would be mad because these can't even get someone through a basic flight. 4-hour flight you wouldn't be able to get through. Oh, another thing that I don't believe I've told anyone yet is so I bought AirPods Max last year because I thought that I would be traveling, and turns out apparently, after all this war stuff started happening, it's going to be a lot harder to travel due to gas prices and all. But I bought them because I wanted something that would be really nice with noise cancellation, and turns out you should never get anything express replaced by Apple because I'm not going to make any more repair videos for probably a while, but I started the repair late last month and they still have not gotten back to me. So I'm pretty much considering these headphones a loss because Apple's not going to repair them or replace them or do anything probably for another month. And
Yeah.
when my dad called Apple up, they pretty much said they're back ordered, and if we haven't saw anything by the end of this month to contact them. So what I get from that is they're pretty much saying we're not helping you, and you pretty much have to go figure it out yourself or buy a new pair of $700, 650. What? How much? Like $550, $600.
$550.
Yeah. So even though I got those for a very good price, open box at Best Buy, I'm screwed in this situation, just like I was with my iPad Mini.
I believe you, I believe you. So I don't, and I would consider the AirPods Max if they weren't $550.
Yeah, like I said, I got mine for about $400 open box.
400 is still a lot, but it's not as bad.
Yeah, plus I ended up returning a pair of Sony headphones that I bought, so they only costed me about $150 more, which personally I think is very good price for what I got. Especially that they charge with Lightning. Personally, I like to have Lightning on as many devices as I can. If I've got to deal with Lightning on my phone, then I want to have Lightning on my headphones as well. And it's actually really nice to be able to charge my headphones with the same cable as my phone, to be honest.
I do. I think that's nice too, but they.
Yeah,
So.
even though a lot of people don't like Lightning, I think that honestly, if people have a better mindset about it, I personally, I would rather have USB-C on iPhones, Pro iPhones for file transfer. But hey, if I can't have that, then at least I have the comfort of knowing that I will pretty much never have to leave the house with no headphones charger and come home with dead headphones.
Yeah, and the two main feature, but unfortunately there will not be better battery life with the AirPods Pro 2. That is not a rumored feature.
What are they going to add with those?
Well,
Probably smaller design.
well, for starters, they're going to still be running on the same Intel chip with Google Chrome.
Huh?
I was making a joke because of the battery life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was making.
They're gonna have that same estimated 256 megabytes of RAM, so they won't connect properly sometimes.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I never had that issue with AirPods 1. Yeah, I'm having those issues with my AirPods Pro.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the devices that are older have less issues for a lot of people. Personally, I wouldn't really use an older phone, but for AirPods, I almost think that it might be worth going with an older pair of AirPods at this point, or AirPods 3 because I had no issues with AirPods 3 relating to anything that I had issues with on AirPods Pro, which really just confuses me because AirPods Pro is still the top of the line,
Yeah.
The lineup is divided because AirPods 3 have better battery, better sound, but AirPods Pro have noise cancellation and a higher price tag, and what should be a better processor, I believe.
Yeah, and it's not. So the actual the first feature. So do you remember the iPod Touch 5th Gen's button, which would let you attach a loop to it?
Yeah, I loved that feature.
It's coming back. It's coming to AirPods Pro too.
Well, what is that gonna do?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, oh, I see why. So you can attach an AirTag to it, maybe.
Or no, you won't even need an AirTag, because guess what? Because guess what else is coming?
Are they adding the Find My ecosystem?
Nope. There's going to be speakers on the actual case.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's really cool for one.
This means that you'll
Even
know.
if it's not the whole Find My ecosystem, it's really cool.
So that way you won't have to have an AirTag to find them, nor an external case, which I'm really happy about. I'll probably get AirPods Pro too.
Yeah, I have an AirTag on my case, and it's really convenient, honestly.
Yeah, but what I'm hoping that Apple does do with the AirPods Pro 2, because they have speakers on the case, what I'm hoping they do is So, have you ever heard of the Dual Link?
No.
So what the Dual Link does is their earbuds that can connect to your phone and play music, but their cases are two Bluetooth speakers, and that will automatically switch in between when you put the earbuds in and out. So I'm hoping that Apple does something similar with the new speakers on the case.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
But Apple loves to restrict things by software, as we're going to learn later on in the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of iPhone, so that's basically all. And the specific release date for the AirPods Pro 2 will be somewhere in between July and December of this year.
Well, that's nice.
But now in terms of iPhone 14 rumors, their USB-C is officially going to be coming to the iPhone 14 lineup.
Officially.
Yep.
How's that known? Because the EU regulations?
Yep. Oh yeah, and there's going to be 20% slimmer bezels across the whole lineup.
Oh, that's
All the
nice.
way around except for the notches on the regular 14s.
So, is the Pro going to have no notch, or is it going to have like the punch hole, or what's with the Pros right now?
So the regular ones are still going to have the notch, but the Pros are going to have that eye hole.
I think that's honestly a pretty good plan, because a lot of users aren't really thinking about whether or not, their phone has a notch, but a lot of the Pro people will, probably pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that'll be pretty, and it'll be all the way around too, and unlike on many Android phones where the slim bezels aren't consistent.
Oh yeah, that's something that really annoyed me about a lot of cheaper Androids that I saw.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
another term.
actually,
So that's all
I
we.
actually go on.
What were you saying?
I actually saw probably the worst budget phone ever a few days ago. It is a Galaxy A02s, and oh man, the bezels are not consistent whatsoever, and the whole phone was just one big joke of a device, honestly.
Uh,
I don't know why that device
so
exists.
what was that phone? What was that phone actually called? Samsung.
Galaxy A02s, and I found it in recycling, sealed in a Galaxy Z Flip 3 box. So I thought I was getting something really good, but no, I ended up getting crap. Of course, I did get a 10s Max in the same recycling bin, so not bad.
But I thought you hate the iPhone XS Max.
Yeah, I do, but I mean, hey, you gotta have some devices so you can get more experiences. And if I can get another experience with the 10s Max, equally good.
Yeah. Oh boy, the Samsung Galaxy A02s does look bad.
Yeah,
I looked it up.
Oh man, that's not a Z Flip. That's trash.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably what the previous owner who threw away that phone upgraded to.
Yeah, well, they got a nice upgrade. Plus, the LCD was smashed in that phone, and the charge port does not work whatsoever.
Yeah, so in other so in other not so great news, there are Apple supply shortages
Yeah, I've actually experienced that with the Mac Studio.
because most Apple products are made in China.
And is the war affecting it, or
No, it's in China. There's a big COVID-19 lockdown right now.
oh yeah, so that would be hard to produce Apple products in that way. Yeah.
But that it kind of irritates me how Apple just won't move production to America.
Isn't the Mac Pro made in the USA? I think that didn't Tim Cook and Donald Trump meet up once and say stuff about Apple products being made in the USA, or did they change that?
I don't know, I don't know about anything about that. But yeah, I wish that all Apple Pro. I still think that Apple should have overseas manufacturing for phone devices
Yeah, I
sold in
think
Asian
it
countries.
region based in a way.
But I also think that they should have some American plants too, and some European plants, and even some African plants and some Australian plants.
Yeah, that would be a big help to everyone because we would get better um supply, they would get better supply, everyone would get better supply if it was kind of regional.
Yeah, exact. Yeah, every in fact every in fact for in fact Apple I think could have it set up to where there would at least be one manufacturing plant in every country.
Yeah.
And so, in some other more positive news, however, Apple's there's a lot of code in iOS 16 that's hinting towards Apple's AR/VR headset being almost ready.
That's interesting.
I'm personally not too excited for VR just because I don't really see VR being too helpful except in gaming.
Yeah, I don't see the AR stuff being extremely amazing.
I
Um,
know.
because it will kind of take away from having a physical phone in your hand when you're using it.
Yeah, I don't really see the I don't re- I think that Apple might actually fail on that one.
Yeah.
But again, because unlike with the Oculus, that was kind of made for gaming. I'm afraid that the Apple's AR/VR headset isn't going to be very optimized for gaming, hence kind of losing out on sales.
Yeah.
And speaking of game, and so speaking of the Oculus headsets, that will be where you access the metaverse.
Yeah, and I don't think that metaverse thing's gonna work out remotely.
Yeah, I don't. Meta's stock is dipping drastically because of that.
And that's good because they mine so much data they don't need any stock.
Yeah, so remember back when the Meta was complaining about Apple's 30% cut?
Yeah, and now Apple's kind of ruining them with tracking.
Yeah, and guess but in the metaverse, all purchases made in the metaverse that are from third-party developers, Meta will get a 47.5% cut.
So almost half.
Yes, and yet they were complaining about Apple's 30% cut.
Yeah, that's hypocrisy.
That's gonna kill Meta even more.
Yeah, because no one's gonna want to sell to those people.
Yeah.
No one's gonna do nothing there if they take a 47% cut. Nobody's gonna do anything. Nobody's gonna mess with them. People are just gonna be like, nah, I'm good. because I would be mad.
Yeah, and
That's like saying that you provide something to your job. You provide your jobs with, I guess if you sell pens, you provide your job with pens. If you pay full price for those and you just sell them, and your job takes a 50% cut pretty much of that, you wouldn't be making that much profit. It would be hard to live off that.
yeah, and we're and the metaverse will see a similar decline to to Windows Phone, because if developers aren't going to want to optimize for it, then nobody's going to buy it, and if nobody's buying it, then even more developers aren't going to optimize for it. Hence making Oculus headsets die completely, hence making Meta die completely.
But the difference between Windows Phone and Meta is that at least one of them seemed really cool. And I'm telling you, it's not Meta off the rip, because Meta is a horrible company. Maybe even worse than Windows. But at least Windows did some stuff to help people. At least Windows can, help people with their job when Facebook just kind of wastes time.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's basically how Meta is going to look. It'd be funny to see what Mark Zuckerberg will do after his company falls completely.
I think that he's gonna probably try to start a car company or a phone company, because that seems like the two things that could really get him off the ground again.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he fails at both of those things, if he'll come in applying for a job at my company someday.
Yeah, because he's got those AI feelings, and he's got to tone his AI feelings to be extra nice for today so he can get a job
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But let's stop talking about Meta for a moment and let's start talking about something that Apple is rumored on releasing. The specifics for the release date or price of this is not specific yet, but Apple is making a dual USB-C 35-watt power brick.
Why? I mean,
I don't know.
Right, but maybe for iPhone and Apple Watch, kind of like MagSafe Duo?
Yeah, but that seems like something that may get included with the iPhone 14 lineup if they're bringing the power brick back.
My thought on that has always been, if you give people a nice power brick, they're not gonna throw it out. They're gonna actually use a nice power brick if it's supplied. But if you give people, junk power brick that nobody wants to use, then of course no one's gonna use it. The 5-watt brick was slow, and everyone already had one. But if they actually give stuff that's usable and not just trash, then people will absolutely love using it. Like fast chargers.
Yeah, like I saw your post on Instagram about that.
Yeah.
Stormy has joined the podcast, by the way.
That's nice.
Hey, Storm. Is Milo with you right now?
Nah, he's downstairs sleeping.
Yeah, most of Mike and Jesus, my other two cats in my room, currently are sleeping, and Orangey is taking a bath.
Good.
And so now let's talk about the Apple Watch Series 8 rumors.
Alright.
So there's going to be an Apple Watch SE. There's going to be an SE version of the Apple Watch Series 8, the regular Apple Watch Series 8, and an Apple Watch Series 8 Pro.
Is it gonna bring that new design?
Yep.
Oh man.
I know.
For a watch, well, for a phone it kind of makes sense, but for a watch,
I want a thinner. I don't. The reason why I didn't even really wear a watch for such a long time, because it was a lot of bulk on my wrist.
yeah,
And I want a thin watch.
That's why I actually downgraded from or no, what is it, 42 to
Yeah.
41 millimeters?
Yeah.
Let me check what my watch is real quick. It is, I can't see, 41 millimeters. And before that, I had the, I guess, 44, I think it was, Apple Watch SE.
Yeah. And so, but the primary new actual feature of this will be a body temperature sensor, which seems great at first.
It's pretty cool.
But guess how? But do you want to take a guess at how Apple's going to ruin it?
Age restrictions, maybe?
Nope. Guess again.
What is it?
So the body temperatures. So just to give you a little bit of a science lesson. So whenever women are more fertile, their body temperatures change. So the body temperature sensor is literally going to be used to deliver notifications to women's wrists about telling women when they're fertile and when they're not.
That doesn't really make that much sense.
Yeah, because
So Apple would use it for that.
that's actually because I want to be able to take my temperature on my Apple Watch.
Yeah, especially in these days with, pandemics going around.
Yeah, and it's not just that either, but the Apple Watch Series 8, if they restrict a feature to women only, it's going to get a lot of negative reviews because first of all, it's kind of sexist how they're reducing it to women only, but secondly, a lot of tech reviewers are men and men and boys, and they're going to be like, well, this is pointless. So that's going to really
It would mess up a lot of reviews.
So that's going to really and if people are going to check the reviews, which most people will, especially for something like an Apple Watch Pro, they're essentially not going to buy it.
Yeah, because they don't know what it does. If no reviewers can figure it out.
Yeah, and Apple's also attracting, and another issue with that is that Apple's also attracting more people who want to figure out how to jailbreak Apple Watches to bring features like that.
Wow.
So I'm afraid, so that'll make more people interested in wanting to jailbreak their Apple Watches to figure out so that way the body temperature sensor will be able to be used for more things.
Yeah.
And obviously, Apple doesn't want people jailbreaking their iPhones, say nothing about Apple Watches.
Yeah, Apple is highly against jailbreaking.
Yeah, which I understand Apple being against jailbreaking now. Jailbreaking can't harm people's security, but
Yeah, I've jailbroken a lot. Nowadays I won't jailbreak my main just because I don't see a real advantage in doing it. But back, 4 years ago, I was trying to jailbreak everything. I had a jailbroken iPad, tried jailbreaking my iPhone,
yeah, and the iPad, and yeah, and jailbreaking, but what about when these devices that we know and love nowadays get really old?
Yeah.
Then how are people going to be able to use them?
In 15 years, the 13 Pro Max is not going to be getting updates, but it'll probably still be usable.
Yeah, so that is kind of concerning, that but again, at least they have discovered a boot ROM exploit for the iPhone 10 below.
Yeah, except Apple actually patched that with the secure enclave, so you can't have a password. You pretty much can't have a password while jailbroken on iOS 14 or higher.
Yes, but again, if it's a boot ROM exploit, then that can easily be getting gotten around because a boot ROM exploit is put into the chip.
Yeah,
So Apple
hopefully,
can't fix boot ROM exploits.
hopefully they will fix that issue.
Apple, well, it's just not going to. But luckily, the Checkmate boot ROM exploit, which is only found on A11 devices and below, all the
Yeah, I
way down
remember
to
when
the
that came out.
A5.
I remember when that came out, I went out and I bought an iPod Touch to use it with.
Yeah, Apple. That's probably one of the reasons why Apple kind of hides the iPod Touch 7, because I'm sure Apple is aware of the Checkmate exploit.
Yeah, they've tried patching it multiple times, especially, and probably the worst part about it is that
It can't be
they,
patched.
yeah, and probably the worst part to Apple is that there's iCloud for iPad, that which completely defeats their security.
Yeah, and it's not just yeah, and so and who knows if there's going to be another boot ROM exploit ever discovered in iPhones newer than the 10.
Yeah, probably in about 15 years, there's going to be something for, 10-year-old iPhones.
Yeah, but that's real. Yeah, because that's the obviously the iPhone 4 and below have the Lima Rain exploit.
Yeah,
And so it makes me if I knew a lot about coding, I would actually be figuring out right now how to create a downgrade tool that utilizes the Checkmate exploit that is untethered and will work on all supported Checkmate devices.
yeah, I would want a downgrade for um, my iPhone 6s to iOS 8.
Yeah, so that way you can finally have a 6 Plus on iOS 8 like you've wanted all these years.
Yeah, hopefully one day.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, and I would develop that tool if I knew how to, but I just don't.
Yeah, I have no idea how.
Yeah, 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 and I would also create a tool that utilizes the Limerane exploit for for really old Apple devices that don't that can get around the modern security things that Microsoft and Apple have done.
Yeah,
So that way,
no
because
way.
the sad reality is that most of the tools that utilize this boot ROM exploit are as old as the devices and have been and their vulnerabilities, whilst they haven't been patched by the devices, have been patched by things that stupid Microsoft and stupid Apple have done. Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah, I heard you. I think my mic must have cut out.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Um, Apple and Microsoft, security's good to prioritize sometimes, but so having an exploit to downgrade isn't the end of the world.
Yeah, especially considering how old the iPhone 10 is at this point.
Yeah, the 10 is an old phone at this point.
Yeah, so you have to yeah, and why would Microsoft even care about people downgrading their old iOS devices? If
I
anything,
don't
they
know
should be
why.
concerned about people doing stuff like that on older Windows phones.
Yeah, I don't know why Microsoft even cared. It's not their business.
Yeah, it's Apple's responsibility to patch all
Yeah,
that
it
stuff
is.
up.
It is quite literally not their business. It's Apple's business, technically.
Yeah, well, Microsoft definitely didn't have the intent when Microsoft started slowly installing patchers to fix all these jailbreak tools and such. They clearly didn't have the intention of destroying them, but they just did.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
They might have literally been trying to destroy old Windows Phone tools also.
Yeah, even though Windows phones never really had too many tools, but I'm sure there's some tools that was used.
Yeah, so I'm sure. So that might have been the actual intention that Microsoft had there. But
Yeah,
but I'm not sure why Microsoft would have done that anyways, because everybody knows how good Microsoft is with privacy.
yeah, Microsoft, huh?
Microsoft, which out of all the tech giants out there, which company do you think is the worst with people's privacy?
Facebook, obviously, then probably Microsoft, and then maybe Snapchat.
How about what does Snapchat do with people's data? I don't know too much about Snapchat and data.
I've heard a lot of things about Snapchat, just kind of tracking people a lot for their ads, and that a lot of the ads on Snapchat are really extremely tailored. So I think that Snapchat gets a lot of data from text
Yeah,
and stuff that people have sent to other people.
yeah. That's probably one of the reasons why Snapchat is dying.
Yeah, I only use it for communication with people who don't really use iMessage or Instagram.
Yeah, Yeah, I obviously don't even have Snapchat.
Yeah, it's a nice app for what it is, um, and it definitely does get a lot of things right. But for everything it gets right, there's also a lot of issues with it, such as a lot of people who use that are pretty sketchy, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the fact that it tells people when um, there's a screenshot taken and stuff like that just kind of makes me feel like it's used for a lot of undercover deals with illegal stuff.
Yeah.
It's definitely a weird app.
Yeah, again, they could have created it with that intention too.
Yeah.
But I think that Google is personally the crown of the worst data miner.
Yeah, that does make sense because Google does kind of have the most services out of any of those because everyone's used a Google service at one point, whether it's YouTube, Google Docs, Google.com.
Yeah, and of course, we all know what Google has done when they bought out Garmin and Fitbit.
Yeah.
They sold data to insurance companies to effectively for for deny people health insurance.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah, technically Google can't, and Google's also been sued for tracking people via even in incognito mode.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh yeah, and didn't oh yeah, and we can't forget what else is Google? I just had something big that Google has been doing that I forgot. What has Google been doing? Well, they do have definite political bias.
Yeah, but Apple, Google, and Microsoft share the same political bias, as well as pretty much every tech company shares the same political biases, except for about two.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but that's something that really can't be fixed about any company.
Yeah, that can't. Yeah, Google's been doing some. What does Google? What bad has Google done?
Is it something related to the children stuff that they did a few years ago?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That
They still disable my comments even though I'm obviously over 13 years old.
yeah. They stopped disabling my comments quite a while. A few months ago, they kept disabling my comments for quite a while.
Yeah, at one point I made a video and I was like, I'm tired of this. And ever since then, um, they've stopped a lot of it. But sometimes I will go to an old video since I recently have been publishing a lot of my older videos, which a lot of them are pretty against Apple, because for a bit of time in 2017 when I had a Galaxy S8, when the iPhone 10 first released, I kind of was not the smartest person, and I tried using the iPhone 10 on video in an Apple store, and I was like, how do you use this thing? When it would be pretty obvious if I took the time to learn how to use it, but there was a lot of stupid opinions I had, especially about Apple being overpriced, which, yeah, they have expensive products, but you get what you pay for.
Yeah, like it always irritates me when everybody just automatically assumes that Apple is the most expensive brand.
Yeah, because Pixel 6 Pro might be less than the iPhone, but you also get less than the iPhone.
Yeah, the Pixel 6 Pro still can't properly take videos.
Yeah, and like S22 Ultra, you know, it's lacking a lot of features relating to like battery health is something that's big on a phone to me, since I like to know exactly how much my battery's degraded. Samsung won't tell you that, nor will Google. Samsung actually removed the entire feature, I guess, in the last 2 years.
Yeah, Samsung removed a lot of the features that they were known for, and yet they're still charging the same or even higher.
Yeah, the S21 did get a price decrease, but they also removed credit card support with Samsung Pay. I believe magnetic strip support. They removed what else? Iris scanning a while back. SD card support.
The headphone jack?
Yeah, the headphone jack that they were making fun of Apple for, they removed.
The power brick. They stopped including it too.
Yeah, and they removed the IR port the IR jack, the SD card multiple times, and they only removed it so they can push Samsung Cloud Storage.
Yeah, Samsung. Yeah, and I actually had. Yeah, and my dad, who wasn't very techy, actually. My neighbor asked about a big phone that was cheap, and my dad automatically recommended to my neighbor a Samsung Galaxy Note because he automatically assumed that they were cheaper than iPhones, even though I did later tell him that they're just as expensive as iPhones.
Yeah, and then Samsung's cheap phones suck too. Man, the A series lineup is just a mess.
Yeah.
Makes no sense why they even sell those when they could just support the older phones for longer, keep selling older phones alongside new phones, just like Apple does.
Yeah, considering that Samsung copies Apple on so many other things,
Yeah,
you think that Samsung could copy Apple in that form.
yeah,
But I guess Samsung can't. But I guess Samsung is learning their lesson via this. Is that they can't copy Apple on everything.
yeah,
Because it used to be that everybody would copy Samsung.
yeah, and BlackBerry too back in the day.
Yeah, people would copy Samsung and Black. Yeah, and then what happens if with the and even Apple copied Samsung with the big screens on the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus and moving the power button to the sides instead of the top, which still drives me nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Like the 12 mini should have it on the top. I can get why the Max phones have it on the side, but 12 mini should have had it on the top.
I know, because I take so many accidental screenshots on my iPhone 11 Pro Max. I never once took an accidental screenshot on my iPhone 8 Plus.
Yeah, that's probably because they made the power button a lot bigger.
And also, the screenshot command for the iPhone 11 Pro Max is different than on the 8 Plus.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot about that, but yeah, they did. Plus, another thing is, I don't really use my power button that much because I can just tap the display to wake it up.
I do use the power button more often, but that I still hold, but I still so I so that's why I have more trouble with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it drives me nuts how Apple just can't move. But Samsung, however, getting back to my main point, Samsung has been doing the power button on the side all along.
Yeah, except for on one device, which was the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge, which they couldn't put it on the side for, because there was the edge on the side.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why Samsung. So I don't. And the problem is that if everybody copies Samsung, and Samsung begins copying Apple, then guess who everybody else is gonna start copying?
Yeah, everything's gonna be the same.
Yeah, and there will be no, and nothing will be different. Like they're like, oh, well, this phone is the same as that one, so I'm just gonna get this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any more topics in mind?
What do you think the next Apple TV is gonna be like?
I pers I actually do have a few theories about what Apple should do with the Apple TV.
Let's hear about him.
So I think the way that Apple currently makes the Apple TV, I think that they should rebrand it as a gaming console
That would make sense.
and actually call it the iConsole or something.
The Apple game. Apple Arcade.
Yeah, but I also do. So I don't, and I think that they could make a cheaper streaming dongle, but I think more importantly, Apple should make a smart TV.
Yeah, that would definitely help people to choose between, some random Roku TV and an Apple TV, since Apple is a bigger name.
Yeah, and Apple will, but they only, but I do know why Apple hasn't made a smart TV yet.
Because the processing power?
Nope. So the problem is that Apple doesn't make their own display technology. Samsung makes the iPhone display technology, and LG makes the display technology for bigger Apple stuff. But if they both make smart TVs too, they're not going to want to make one for Apple.
Yeah.
And it's honestly quite a blessing that we're even having Samsung help make iPhone displays.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed that Samsung actually does that despite being Apple's biggest rival.
Yeah, Samsung must make a lot of money off of that if they do that.
Yeah, Samsung or LG would have to be paid a lot of money in order to make the smart TV, which would make
it. Since Apple kind of took LG out of the business.
Yeah, so LG would so they would and the other issue with that is that would not only drive the cost up of the Apple Smart TV greatly, but particularly if they chose particularly if they chose Samsung makes all their giant stuff in Japan.
Yeah.
So if it was and the only problem is that it has to be shipped overseas like crazy. It's not exactly gonna cause. It's gonna make the TVs very unreliable.
Yeah.
As my mom has experienced back when she had a Samsung TV.
Yeah.
And my dad he used to work at Lowe's and he always hated selling Samsung appliances for that same reason. And LG appliances were also very unreliable because I'm gonna actually look up where LG is headquartered.
Yeah, my mom hates LG Pro.
South Korea is where LG is located. So of course their stuff is going to be shipped overseas too to the assuming that assuming that most of my viewers are not in either South Korea or Japan because since this podcast is obviously in English, and English isn't a very popular language in either of those countries.
Yeah.
But the point is that if it has to be shipped over a long distance, then they're going to get tussled around a lot, and that's going to make Apple's smart TVs very unreliable and very expensive, hence harming Apple's reputation.
Yeah.
But I do think that if Apple does make in the next tvOS update even, I think that Apple should rebrand the Apple TV interface to look more like an iPod Classic UI or the old macOS app front row, which is kind of like the macOS app front row.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the front row UI was awesome, and I would kind of like that to come back to the Apple TV in some form.
Yeah, it would be cool.
But I have to plug in my Mac. Hang on a second. It's got low battery. Somebody is apparently mowing outside my house.
Nice.
Okay, my Mac is charging.
Alright.
What were we talking about before?
The Apple TV.
Yeah, so that I knew that, but I didn't remember what specifically. So
The user interface.
Yeah, so that
should, look like front row.
yeah, I think that would be a very cool little UI, and because that's kind of like the iPod UI, it would bring back a lot of nostalgia for people, which would make people want to buy the Apple TV.
Yeah, like the Motorola Razr 5G.
Yeah, and it would make Apple basically rich.
Yeah.
But I think
the Apple TV's sales issue.
yeah, so that is one can. And I think that Apple should personally make. And I also think that the Apple TVs need to have higher build quality, like on the first Apple TV,
Yeah.
where the Apple logo actually glows. Like on the Macs. I want glowing Apple logos on MacBooks again.
Yeah. And I want bigger displays on the MacBook.
Yeah. Like, I want the 17-inch MacBook Pros to come back.
Yeah, this time they could probably make it 18 inches if they get rid of the bezels.
Yeah, so I want that kind of stuff. Alpha Day Wolfman in particular would be really happy about that, since if you watch any of his videos, you know how much he likes screen real estate.
Yeah.
And in case you don't know, Alpha Day Wolf will be a featured guest on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited to have some featured guests.
Yeah, Ealis from Meowtech will be the first guest on this podcast.
Yeah, I know him in real life.
Yeah, I know.
We're meeting up on Saturday.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know. He's pretty excited about the podcast too.
Yeah.
And we'll be recording.
Fans, I think.
Yeah, and my plan is for when he guests on that we'll start recording at on May 6th at 1:30 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah, he talks about how good your videos are a lot of the time. He's really excited to be featured on one.
And I'm sure a lot of my other planned guests are really excited too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you were pretty excited when you found out that you had officially been hired as co-host.
Yeah, it's really fun. Even if sometimes we have to delay because of some unexpected issues.
Yeah, again, so that's actually why we've had to delay the podcast for nearly 2 weeks, or 3 weeks if you listen to the audio version, is because one day was Tabby Pears' dad's birthday, which obviously is an issue that we cannot ignore.
Yeah.
Well, not an issue, but an issue for the podcast, not an issue for
A delay.
Tabby Pears. And then obviously another day, Tabby Pears' MacBook's keyboard broke.
Yeah. Which, I'm probably gonna have to, just buy a Mac Studio.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it to get it repaired right now, especially with all these Apple repair issues going on.
I think that you should personally try out a third-party repair shop.
I do have Apple Care Plus, though, which is pretty much the reason why I would do Apple repair
Yeah,
instead of doing it myself.
but a third-party repair shop was able to revive my 2014 MacBook Air, so that way I could upgrade from that for my stupid ThinkPad, which ran Windows 10.
Hate Windows.
I do too. Again, I'm sure most of my viewers do too. Yeah. So I do not like Windows, but I find, and a third-party repair shop was also able to fix my iPad 7th generation screen and it got a free screen protector installation.
It's always good.
The only issues I've had with it are sometimes touch, but the touch issues are usually minor, with the exception of a week ago Wednesday when the touch was barely working.
Yeah.
But I can't exactly afford a repair that's as expensive as the iPad is worth now.
Yeah.
I have to get it repaired cheaply now because an Apple repair costs $250 and the iPad is worth less than that.
Yeah, that's what Apple likes to charge.
Apple won't repair an iPad 3rd generation or an iPad 4th generation anymore. They obviously repair the iPad 5th generation and above, but they still repair an iPad 2s.
And the iPhone 4s, too.
Wait a minute, let me see. Apple will repair an iPhone 4?
Yeah, my friend Elias is going to get his iPhone 5s's battery replaced from Apple, actually.
Hang on here. I'm going to actually check out...
And my friend Monkey Mike actually got his iPhone 4 repaired by Apple for an extreme amount of money, but Apple did a great job on Monkey Mike's iPhone.
Yeah, I'm going to see... Yeah, I'm going to see... They do 10 repairs. Yeah, they do iPhone 10. They do 7 repair shop. They do all 6 repair costs.
Yeah.
They do... Holy cow, they do iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S repair. Getting an iPhone 4S fixed by Apple is less than getting an iPhone 4 fixed.
Yeah, it's nuts, yo.
It's also got the old school Apple font on it.
Yeah.
That's still nuts how Apple still supports iPhone 4 repair.
What?
Apple still supports iPhone 4 repair. Yeah. I said you can get any iPhone 4 and above fixed by Apple. To get an iPhone 4 fixed, it's $200.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
$200 is a lot.
Especially for a $15 phone.
Yeah, but that's still absurd. But speaking of prices, I visited a used tech market today, which will actually be today's YouTube video once I'm done recording this podcast. But at that used tech market, most of the stuff there was really overpriced.
Yeah, just like a lot of yard sales.
Because they were charging, I think, around $85 for an iPod Touch 3rd generation.
It's overpriced.
$75 for an iPod Touch 4. $140 for an iPod Touch 5, and keep in mind this was the one without the back camera.
Yeah, it's a ripoff.
I think around the same for an iPod Touch 6. And a $100 for an iPod Nano, for some iPod Nano 6 gens, and $75 for others, which I did unfortunately pick up a $75 iPod Nano 6 gen. So I now have almost all the Nanos.
That's good.
So, except for the 4th gens, those are nearly impossible to find without the black spot.
Yeah, I have a good amount of those that don't even have any battery issues.
Yeah, So I've had 2 4th gens in the past, but those have both gotten the black spot.
Yeah, I've got like 10.
Yeah, and so now that'll be pretty cool to complete. And oh yeah, get this. They were charging over $200 for an iPhone 7.
Wow.
And a few months ago, I saw an iPod Touch. I actually saw a transparent iPod Classic there, which I didn't get. But sometime if it's still being sold, I might come back and get that if it's not too overpriced.
Yeah.
I bought. Oh yeah, a little while ago when I was there, I saw over $100 for iPod Classics 4th through 5th and 5th generations.
Yeah.
$60 iPod Touch 2nd gens.
Wow.
$120 iPad 3 and iPad Mini 2.
Yeah.
Which is very overpriced, but this is the worst of all, one of all. $300 for an guess which generation iPhone?
6S?
6S Plus.
Yeah.
$300 for that.
It's a big ripoff.
That better be 128 gigabytes, running iOS 9, activated, and in mint condition for that money.
Yeah. Insane price.
It better be running. If it does not run iOS 9, and if it is not in mint condition, and if it is not 128 gigabytes, if I actually bought that, I would return that.
Yeah.
When I was there, I'm not going to give two. When I was there, however, I was able to find for $7 an LG flip phone with its original box and charger that worked, so I had to get that.
Pretty
A
cool.
$12 Android tablet, which I obviously had to get.
Yeah.
A $45 BlackBerry tablet.
Those are nice.
And a $30 Samsung Galaxy Core Prime.
Wow.
Which all this stuff works, so I now have 2 working Android phones. My other one being my HTC Desire. But the cool part, that was, but apparently I can't remember the name of that LG flip phone, but it has excellent reviews, and the guy at the checkout, when I was checking out there, he actually said that he had one. He actually said that he had one of those when he was younger.
That's cool.
So it's apparently a big classic in the phone industry, so I'm definitely reviewing that.
Yeah.
Do you actually have So I do have, because in case you don't know, I do collect non-Apple phones also.
Yeah, I do some.
Yeah, because I might do a video on my phone collection at some point, but I have a bunch of LG dumb phones.
Yeah, you should do a video on your collection.
A few Samsung dumb phones and two Samsung dumb phones and 3 Samsung smartphones. The other one being the one that is not an Android is Samsung Reality, which doesn't run Android.
Yeah.
And I have 2 HTCs. One is one M8, which doesn't work. and the other is an HTC Desire, which does work.
That's cool.
I have a BlackBerry Classic,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool to have, and
Cool.
I have an basic Alcatel phone, a basic Alcatel dumb phone, and one Alcatel smartphone that runs KaiOS. It's not a touchscreen phone, but it is a smartphone.
That's cool.
That was my neighbor's phone. Everything works on that KaiOS flip phone with the exception of the SIM card slot.
Weird.
Essentially making that phone useless as an actual phone, but a great collector's item. And are there any other brands I have? I'm actually going to go check my phone drawer right now.
Alright.
Or my phone shelf, I should say. Oh, I forgot about the Motorola collection.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have 3 Motorola's. For those of you who can actually see it on camera, I have this Motorola, a Motorola Razr with its original box that was my grandfather's. This Motorola was either my grandfather's or my mom's, and this Motorola flip phone.
Yeah, that's cool. Anyways, I think we should start wrapping up since I got somewhere to go soon.
Yeah, I'll put everything back and then I'll start recording the outro.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm going to be rearranging my setup soon, so that way I have more room for my big tech collection.
That's good.
But do you have anything else that you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, we can wrap it up.
Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the newly rebranded iAppleTree podcast. I am your host, the iAppleTree, aka the iTunes fanboy.
Happy Bears.
The co-host, and if you want to stay tuned for... Oh, I guess I should probably state that next week's episode will be delayed until the following Monday due to state testing. And so, with that all in mind, please check out our social media and the links in the description. And as always, peace out.
Alright, goodbye.
Goodbye.